Hello and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you're new, I'm Corie. Welcome to my channel. If you are returning, I appreciate you more than I can say. Today I have all of my alcohol ink projects that I've created to date in one video so you can see a few different ways that I've used them and maybe you'll be inspired to try it yourself. So let's go ahead and get right on into the crafting. DIY number one. Right, now I have this little glass bowl from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to go ahead and get it cleaned up. I don't know if this is considered a vase or a little fish bowl, but I used a baby wipe to get the rest of that little residue off, and then I kind of wiped off the outside. And then I used a microfiber, a little towel to clean up, or just dust, I guess you could say, the inside of it. After I did that, though, and here you can see with that, when I was kind of in progress with this project, I was wishing that I had actually cleaned the inside with rubbing alcohol. I noticed that there were either fingerprints or there was something going on, and the alcohol ink was kind of clinging to that and making it not perfect. You know, I'm going to be doing other things with this, so it wasn't all that noticeable in the end, but it was something that I knew was there. It was bothering me. So just a word of the wise, definitely might want to clean the inside of it. But I've picked out an alcohol ink here. I believe it was just called Navy, and you saw me adding some water to it. I was trying to figure out a way to get the alcohol ink to cover the entire inside surface of this little bowl without being too dark and getting, sometimes alcohol ink, it can, I don't know what the right word is for it. It can create kind of harsh lines with itself. That's probably a really bad description, but at any rate, I wanted it to be uniform. And so I spent a lot of time trying to empty out some of the water because you saw that I'd gotten too much water in there, adding more alcohol ink, trying to get the right consistency for it to just nicely coat the inside of my bowl and get it to the right hue. Because essentially I'm just staining this little glass bowl and I want it to be a really pretty blue ocean kind of color, right? Like a coastal inspired color. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm shaking it a lot because I'm trying to get that ink to fully coat in all the places. And I decided I needed to add some more. It wasn't quite dark enough for me. So I'm shaking it a lot because, again, and I think the scientific term for it is the surface tension. I could have that wrong, but essentially the ink was getting a little caught up in certain areas on the glass. And so I was shaking it to try and help break that tension and let it hit all of the little places in the glass. So I finally got it to a really good consistency, and I just continued to let it coat. Just took my time and made sure that I got the entire surface. And once I was done, I emptied it out onto my little baby wipe and I set it aside to dry. A couple of days later I came back to it. It's all dry now. I love the color of it, and I have this twine or jute cord. I'm not sure exactly what this is. It could be either. I'm honestly not sure. But it's a thin piece, right? And I'm measuring off a double length, or a double strand, I guess you could say, about 2 feet in length. And I'm cutting that off, and I'm going to measure to get a loop that will fit around the top of my little bowl. And I'm going to tie this off. I'm sorry, I'm a little out of frame, but I'm just doing a loop knot. And I'm going to continue to measure that as I pull the knot tight to make sure that I'm going to have this loop that will sit just over the rim of my bowl. I don't want it to drop too far down, and I want it to be snug. So I'm just going to keep working with that until I get to the way I want it. And now that I've got it where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and I guess first I'm going to check and make sure that it's nice and a good length because of what I'm going to be doing with this. But now I'm going to measure off using the tail end of that loop thing that I just created and get additional strands, double strands that are that length, plus about an inch, because I'm going to be tying them onto the loop that I created. And I want to make sure that everything is about the same length in the end. And so I am cutting a total of 7 additional loops here total, because with my tails, that'll make 8. Hopefully you're following what I'm saying, but you're going to see in just a minute what I'm talking about. So went ahead and continued to cut each of these, making sure that they were all double lengths. If I had to guess, I would say that these are about 18 inches long. But now that I've got them all cut, I'm going to tie them onto my loop. So I'm leaving them doubled over, and I'm using that loop in the doubling to stick my little ends through. I'm not explaining this well at all, but I'm going to show you in a close-up in just a second, so bear with me if you're not understanding what I'm saying, because I feel like I am not being clear. But here we go. So close-up coming here. Going to put my little loop through there. I'm taking the ends and sticking it through the folded loop and pulling it tight around the original loop that I'm tying it around. You're going to be able to see better in just a second, but hopefully that makes a little bit more sense because I put it in real time as well. So once I have them all tied on there, here you go again. This is the last one. I put it through the loop. I put my ends through the loop of the new one, right? And I tightened it. So now I've got 8 different double strands coming down off of my original loop that I had created. And one set of those strands is the tail that I had created with making the loop, making sure that everything is evenly spaced here. And once I do that, I'm going to take one strand from one knot on the left and then a strand from the knot on the right. I'm going to tie those together. So just one of the 2 strands from each side, I'm going to tie them together, and I'm going to do that all the way around. So I'm taking one from the left, one from the right, and tying a knot, and it's just a loopy knot. I don't know what the technical term for the knot is, but just tying the 2 of them together. It's not a tie your shoelace kind of knot. It's tying them both together into a loop. I'm at a loss for words right now, you guys, but hopefully you are kind of getting what I'm talking about. I did that all the way around, and now I'm going to go down to the next layer, next row, so to speak, and I'm going to do the same exact thing, and it's going to kind of create a diamond pattern. So you can start to kind of see what I'm doing here. And I'll continue to work my way down, and once I get low enough and it starts curving back under, because of the shape of the bowl, I'm going to flip it over and I'll start working on the other part of it and try and make sure that I'm getting it as snug as I can as I come up over the bottom of my bowl now. But this is all we're doing. We are literally just taking a strand from either side, tying a knot. I'm trying to make sure that my new knot is centered between the 2 knots that came before it, because I want this all to be somewhat symmetrical. So I'm doing my best to just try and make sure that I keep everything even. So you'll see in just another minute. But once I did that, I continued to work it all the way up to the top. I trimmed off the ends and just tucked those ends under to make it nice and neat. And now it's going to sit nicely on my tabletop. And I think this is super cute, but let me know what you think. DIY number 2. All right, I have a Dollar Tree vase and a piece of parchment paper and a piece of scrap wood, so that will let me pick it up and move it when I need to get it out of my way to let it dry. I have my alcohol inks again. I say again because I used them recently on a plate that a lot of you really enjoyed, and I was really happy that you liked it. So I figured I would do another project with the alcohol inks. cleaning up my vase with some rubbing alcohol, just making sure that it's nice and not fingerprinted or anything. And then I pulled out a bunch of colors that kind of spoke fall to me. Now, in the end, I'm not sure how fallish it looks, but I think it looked really cool. So I had a purple and a deeper green, a brown, a couple of shades of orange. And then I also was using a couple of metallic colors of alcohol inks. I used a gold and a copper. Now, a lot of you have been asking me about the alcohol inks, and I do not know what the name of this brand is. I can't even tell from looking at the box right here, but I do have it available in my Amazon store. And here, oops, there goes the vase. But yeah, fortunately, the alcohol ink dries really pretty quickly, and there was like no harm, no foul there. But I do have these available in my Amazon store, so if that's something you want to check out. I don't think they were all that expensive. It might have been, I don't want to quote what it might have been because I'm totally not remembering. I want to say like $20 for the box. I could be completely off, so don't quote me on that. But just using the alcohol inks all over the vase, and then I'm going to coat it 2 coats with the clear coat glaze, and this is how it turned out. I was debating whether or not to paint the inside. You could totally leave it like that. Ultimately, I decided I was going to paint it with plaster chalk paint. So the name of the color is plaster. This is, I think this one's a Waverly. Yes, Waverly chalk paint. But you could use any color of white or off-white for this. It really just helps the colors to pop. It gives them some substance. Or you could just leave it clear the way that it was originally. Let me know what you think. DIY number 3. All right, I've got that bowl again, and this time we're actually going to use the bowl to create our project. I just got it all cleaned up, used some rubbing alcohol on the bottom there to get the sticky off. I've got a piece of parchment paper, and I'm grabbing out my alcohol inks. I just love working with these. I think they make such pretty designs. I'm literally just pulling out any color that looks like it could say Easter to me. So pinks, purples, some yellows. I think I have an orange. I think I've got maybe a green or an aqua, a couple of different blues. But I am just randomly applying these. And if you've never worked with alcohol ink before, when I work with it on the glass like this, it kind of gives a stained glass type of look to it. In the past, once I've had everything covered, I have painted it white so that you see the colors more vividly on the inside of whatever it is that you have created. But then obviously the exterior would be white. I've also covered it with clear coat in the past just to protect the alcohol inks. Here I am just helping it out with drying with my heat gun because I was in a little bit of a rush, so I wanted to make sure I could continue working with it. So here it is in its original state, right? And I think it's really cool looking. And then I decided I was going to try and Mod Podge it. Now, had I let it dry overnight and given it more time, this might have worked out better. But this is where I started to go wrong. I've got it flipped upside down again. I was worried about it, which is why I poured the Mod Podge on, and then I was using a very light stroke with my brush. And at first I thought I might be able to get by with it, and then all of a sudden it started smearing everywhere. And I was like, ugh, that was what I was afraid of. So if I had to do this again, I would get my clear coat spray and I would just spray it. Or if I had spray Mod Podge, I was actually wishing I had spray Mod Podge, but I don't. I might have tried that. So it ultimately, as much of a mess as this looks as I'm working through it, it ultimately turned out not so bad. I'm just trying to use a very light stroke. I am not smushing it so to speak. I'm really just trying to get the excess Mod Podge off of it at this point so that there aren't any globs, so that when it dries, um, it doesn't look goopy or like it's got globs of anything on it. So here I am being my impatient self and using my heat gun to dry it again. So you can see it definitely is not the same as it was when I first had it done. But you know what? It's not terrible. I don't know. You let me know. Is this a success or a fail? Let me know what you think. DIY number 4. All right, this is a frame from the Dollar Tree, and as you can see, it will hold about 7 pictures. We are going to be taking out that mat. I'll save it for another project for another day. Now, the backing on this is cardboard, and I've used these recently. You might have seen me securing them with some hot glue. I just want to make sure that they're not going to pull out and have my frame go crashing to the floor at any point. Putting down some parchment paper because it will not stick to the parchment paper, and that's enabling me to smooth it out so I won't have any bulk behind the frame, so that it won't be visible, so to speak. So I am popping out the glass. I'm going to set that aside for right now, and I am going to be painting the frame. I've got those little tabs still upright, so it's kind of lifting that frame up off. You can see how that didn't stick. I'm going to reuse my parchment paper, but it's kind of lifting the frame up off of the surface and makes it easier for me to paint it, honestly. This is Ocean chalk paint. I think this one is by Waverly. It's either Waverly or Home Decor. I'm sorry, you probably saw it better than I did while I'm doing this voiceover. But there I go, dropping the whole frame there. But you can see I am painting both sides of it. I just want to make sure that everything is nicely coated. I absolutely love this shade of blue. I think it is gorgeous. But going ahead and getting my glass prepped now. I've got some parchment paper down again, and I've got a microfiber cloth and some alcohol. This is rubbing alcohol. I believe it's 91% isopropyl alcohol. And I'm just going to clean my glass. I want to make sure that it is smudge free and nice and clean. And then I'm going to be pulling out my alcohol inks. So just getting those out of my drawer, and I'm going to pull out a bunch of different shades of blue and a couple of greens, as well as a shade that was as close as I could get in my pack of paints to like a sand color. So it was, I think this one was called Mango. It was more of an orangey, like a light orange, but it was the closest I could get. This is all meant for inspiration. It is clearly going to be abstract, but I am just applying some of the alcohol ink to that bottom area and letting it do its thing, letting it work its magic. Now I did go back and grab some, I think this one's called Coffee. And it's just a brown. I just wanted to add a little bit more dimension to the sand color, if you will. Then I will come in with my blues, and I'm just going to go ahead and layer them, or not really even layering them, but kind of using a stripe kind of, I don't know. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just applying it kind of in squigglies. This is hopefully going to kind of give the sense that we're looking at some water. You can see I've added a green there. I wasn't too sure about the green, and then went ahead and continued on with other blues. I had a turquoise, essentially any of the blues that looked remotely like water to me is what I opted to work with here. But you can choose whatever colors you want, right? This is meant to be inspirational, and you can see how I'm kind of dropping it in the middle there. And now I'm going to take a dry brush because I wasn't liking the circular pattern it's creating, and I'm really just smooshing what on earth word was that? Smooshing it, smudging it, I don't know. Kind of drawing my dry brush very lightly through the alcohol ink and trying to get it to blend a little bit more. It's looking a bit like a hot mess right now, but trust me, I actually love the way that it turned out in the end, so I hope you'll bear with me. Going to continue on with my different colors. And it's funny because as I look at this now, I almost wish that I had, after I got done with this top part, left that middle part there alone, because it almost looks to me like a mountain and some land and then the ocean in front, or a lake maybe in front, and then sky up above. But then I continued to work with it and I lost pretty quickly that illusion. I wasn't seeing that full picture when I was working on it. I was more of the sense that I wanted it all to be water in my head. So just something to keep in mind as you go, that other images might appear, and be open-minded as you step back and take a look at your pictures. This is white alcohol ink that I pulled out because here I'm thinking about perhaps adding in the foam, and this is where I started adding, well, I continued to add the white across, but I still think it turned out really nice. And I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this and see if it's something you think you might attempt sometime. All right, so I set that aside to dry, and while it's drying, I am just taking, this is plain white paper. I've just got these large sheets that my husband had given me. I'm not sure where he got them from, but I cut down a couple of layers to use as the backing inside my frame. So putting my frame back together, it's all dry now. I've got to drop my glass in there. There we go. The alcohol ink is going to be on the inside so that it's protected. And then I will set my white paper in there along with the frame backing, and I'll be able to get that all sealed up. And that is it. But I love this. Let me know what you think. DIY number 5. All right, this is some tempered glass that my sister didn't need. She gave it to me. It was originally meant for an iPad, like a screen protector. And I had been seeing online there, so actually TikTok. I recently have become a little obsessed with TikTok, and Andrea Nelson Art is somebody who I think is so super fun. She has great ideas, and I saw her doing these alcohol ink projects on glass. And I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I can use this tempered glass for this project. And I'm going to leave a link. I think I can leave a link for TikTok in my description box in case you want to check out Andrea Nelson Art. I just think she's great. But I got a piece of microfiber cloth and my rubbing alcohol, and I'm just cleaning off the glass. I think I have all the film off of it. I'm honestly not 100% sure. Yeah, you're going to see in a second. So another caveat, that's 70% isopropyl alcohol, but it calls for 91%. So I was already kind of not doing things the way that I was supposed to. But these are the alcohol inks that I got off of Amazon. These are also available in my Amazon store. They've got so many fun colors. I was super excited to try these out. Andrea made it look so easy, and I thought, oh, that'll be a cute little project, you know? So if you do decide to try out alcohol inks, they do stain everything very easily. So you want to make sure you protect your surface. If you're worried about staining your hands, you might want to wear gloves. I was just diving right into it. So it comes with these little piercing thingies to pierce the bottles. Clearly I needed to do that, and then I got ink everywhere. So I went ahead and pierced the colors that I was using. I believe one was a watermelon, another, I think it might have been lime, and raspberry, I want to say. it's kind of funny. They're all like fruit flavors. But at any rate, I got all of my little bottles pierced and ready to go. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to do exactly what Andrea did. So I grab one of my red/pink tones and I'm dripping drops. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's not doing what hers did. I don't understand. It's supposed to kind of spread out and bloom. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I need some rubbing alcohol on the glass. Maybe I missed a step. So I grabbed one of these squirt bottles that I had picked up from the Dollar Tree, filled it up with some alcohol. Mind you, it's the wrong kind of alcohol, right? It's 70%. It's not 91%. I have since invested in 91% isopropyl alcohol. But anyway, I decided I was going to put a little bit of the alcohol on there. Clearly, you can see that's kind of puddling up, or not puddling, but kind of coming together. The ink started doing a little bit more of what I expected, but not really. It's not doing it. It's just not working. And so the only thing I could figure was maybe it's because it was tempered glass. I don't really know how tempered glass works, but yeah, this is me being determined to try to make something of this. And yeah, using a paintbrush, trying to get it to do something, and clearly it does not want to work on the tempered glass. Yeah. So I'm a hot mess, you guys, with this. But I was determined to do something with this. So when I decided that the tempered glass really wasn't going to work, I went ahead and I got it cleaned up. I figured maybe I could use it for something else. Unfortunately, I ended up breaking it. So anyway, I moved on to a Dollar Tree picture frame with a glass insert. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the glass piece. Don't mind my table. It's clearly stained with the alcohol ink at this point. And I went ahead and used my alcohol to clean off the glass. Just wanted to make sure it was nice and clean, nothing on it. And I'm going to give this another shot with the alcohol ink. And now it's doing what it's supposed to do. Yay! Except, see those kind of harsh lines around it? Yeah, I think that's because I used the wrong kind of alcohol to clean the glass, maybe? I don't know. If you've used alcohol inks, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know what I'm doing wrong here, because this is sure not looking like Andrea's. Now, that being said, ultimately, I really did think it was kind of cool the way that the whole thing turned out. This is definitely an Impressionist type of piece for me. Yeah, now I'm supposed to be drawing like little leaves. Those were supposed to be flowers. Those big red and pink blobs are supposed to be flowers. And now I'm supposed to be making like little leaf shapes. Definitely check out Andrea Nelson art because it's so pretty what she ends up making with this. And like I said, she makes it look so easy. I'm going to have to try it again with using the 91% alcohol to clean my glass, and maybe that'll make all the difference. I'm not really sure. But right now, I'm committed to making all of these little blobs, and I thought, you know what? It's not really looking like flowers, but I'm going to just go with it, and I'm going to end up with some kind of fun art piece regardless. So I had brought in some blue. I think that might be blueberry. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think all of these colors have like fruit names to them. But I went ahead and continued to add in my different colors and just experimenting. This is the first time I have ever used alcohol ink, you guys. And I have to admit, it was kind of fun. So I will definitely be trying it again. I just need to do a little bit more research, I think. Because I clearly don't know how to manipulate it at the moment. But once I had pretty much all of my glass covered, I did want to make sure that I was covering all of it. For whatever reason, I decided I didn't want a lot of white space. But then I also had ordered, in addition to this set with all of the fruit colors, I had also ordered a set of metallic alcohol inks. So here I'm just getting my inks put away, and I'm going to grab my metallic inks because I decided I wanted to add some gold. Oh, I guess I'm not quite done with my green here. So I did grab out my metallics. I found my gold. I'm not sure why I'm showing you all of this. Sorry, you guys. bear with me because we are going to go ahead and get some of this done. Putting all of my paints away like a good girl. All right, so you can see when I lift it, it's very translucent. And so when I put the piece together, Andrea recommends putting a piece of white paper behind it so that all of your colors are very vibrant. So you can see when it's on my table there, the colors are just much more vivid than when I had lifted it up. So here I am with my gold, metallic gold. This actually might have been a rose gold now that I think of it. This was a little set of 6, I believe, different little metallic colors. And so I picked out the rose gold and I was just trying to give it little dots here and there. I think I end up having to pierce it again because I didn't quite get the hole completely pierced. So poking my hole in there and then applying my little metallic dots. Now at this point I had decided I was just going to let it be impressionistic, and I'm just adding some dots here and there where I thought they might look pretty with the metallic. And again, I definitely want to give this a different shot. I want to try it again after I do a little bit more research. So while that was set aside to dry, although alcohol inks dry pretty quickly because of the alcohol, it just evaporates. I'm giving my frame a coat of white chalk paint. This is my Adirondack White by Home Decor. I just went ahead and made sure that the whole thing was covered. And again, I don't know why I am showing you so much of my painting here. I thought I had removed some of this from the video. Clearly I did not. I'm still recovering from my COVID, you guys. I'm having a little bit of brain fog, so bear with me. We're almost through the painting. Although I understand some people enjoy the painting part because it's relaxing to watch, but all right, here we go. The frame is painted and dry, and now I've got my piece. So when I set this down, I'm going to have the painted side facing me. So the glass part, the glass pane with nothing on that side is what faces out. I cut down some regular copy paper to 8x10, pop that in. I'm putting my back on the frame, and that's it. And look at this. It's not flowers, but I think it's cute. Let me know what you think. DIY number 6. All right, Christmas bulbs, because why not, right? So there is a reason why I am using these little Christmas ornaments. I'm going to pop off the tops. I'm grabbing out several of them. Now, when I was growing up, and here are my alcohol inks again, I'm grabbing out blues and greens. When I was young, and actually even as I grew up, my grandmother in New England always had a bowl on her dining room table that was filled with these, I think they're called fishing orbs or fishing floaters, but they were these glass, I think they were hand blown even, colorful balls, and she always had them in blues and greens on her dining room table, and I thought that they were so pretty, and I don't know what made me think of them. But I thought, you know what? I could probably make something similar with my little Christmas tree ornaments. So I pulled out my alcohol ink, and I wanted to make sure that it was going to be able to make its way around the inside of the ball without too much struggle, right? So this time I'm using alcohol. I added a little bit of alcohol in here to kind of thin it out and help it move around. Now, not too long ago, I did another project where I stained the glass. It was a larger, I don't know if it was a vase. It looked like a fishbowl, right? And I had used water to thin out my alcohol ink. Then I thought, oh, you know what? I'll use some alcohol. Why not? That should work even better. You know what? I will admit, I think the water actually worked better for this purpose than the alcohol did. So if you are trying to thin out your alcohol ink and you're trying to make sure that you've got an even stain on your glass, I recommend using a little bit of water as opposed to adding alcohol to this, because they ended up getting streaky as they dried. You could see that I was having a little bit of a struggle there. I've got these set up on paper towel. Eventually I did pop them into little candle holders with some paper towel on the bottom to catch the ink. But if you have an egg crate or something like that, that'll work wonders. But let me know what you think of these. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the alcohol inks, leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Give me a big thumbs up. And until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care. Bye.